there's no better place than for a boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Yeah, it's almost like that 5 car of Kasey Kahne. He's starting to back up. In fact, Matt, he just lost a position to Matt Kenseth in the 17.
And he just told his team, Larry and Mac, that the car really loose on entry and surprisingly even looser across the center of the corner. And he said, Sylvie, this wind is absolutely crazy.
See, Kasey Kahne in 5 was he was finished with his pit stop. Bobby Labonte's coming in with a 47. Darrell, this is where you always like to have communication under green flag stops with your neighbor about when are you coming in. Here's when we're coming in.
And here comes our pole sitter, Martin Truex, on the bottom in the 56. They tried to split the 33 of Tony Raines, and Harvick holds him off for now.
It's just hard to beat Kevin Harvick off the corner right now with him running that high groove, keeping that engine wound up in that 29 car.
Kevin Harvick had a rough pit stop, and you see the crew time versus Martin Truex plus 3 seconds there. Kevin Harvick had the right rear tire changer, had trouble on Harvick's car, missed a lug nut, dropped one, put one back on, tripped coming around the car. Daytona 500 winner Matt Kenseth gave a thank you wave out the window to his Roush Fenway Ford teammate Greg Biffle as they exchanged positions 1 and 2.
Turn 3, Chris, the wind could have been an assist there. You're a little bit loose anyway. Thing gets sideways into the outside wall. Carl Edwards comes back to pit road. The team wasn't confident that they got all the lugs replaced properly, Chris. This is a bad break. We've seen how hard it is to drive from the back to the front. The only guy that's done it is Jeff Gordon. He's got a really strong car tonight.
Lead change.
Oh boy, 5-time.
Jimmie Johnson.
Remember me?
Back goes to the front for the first time tonight.
Jimmie Johnson just said, you got 2 things I want. The lead of the race and the point lead, and I want them both.
You know, if you think about Greg Biffle saying goodnight, everybody, who's usually the one that wakes people up, Darrell?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he just got a little wake-up call, Michael.
A lot of good battles shaping up. Johnson has passed Biffle for the lead. Truex stalks Kenseth for 3rd, and here comes Jeff Gordon once again after Allmendinger for 8th place. With Earnhardt getting closer.
Just appears, Big Daddy, Jeff Gordon at 24. His car is good on the long runs, and we know we normally get long runs at Texas.
And Kyle Busch now on pit road, and they have struggled. Every once in a while, it'll seem as if they have, problems with the right front. That's going to be tough on Kyle Busch. It's going to be a long pit stop as a result of what the trouble they had on the right front tire.
Looked like the jack dropped and caught the air hose under the tire.
Exactly, Mike. I'm watching Brad Keselowski go by in his 2 car, and he's lost his cylinder. He's engine's laying down in that car. What are they saying, Steve?
You're exactly right, Darrell. They haven't said specifically what it is, but you see him well off the pace there. They do know they have a motor problem, but he's just trying to lug it out for right now.
Well, it never comes a big surprise to me when we have engine problems here. This place will suck the guts right out of an engine. You run such high RPM, high speed, put the practice laps that these guys put in, maybe 150 miles of practice, and a 500-mile race on top of that. It's just a real marginal situation for these engines.
Yeah, look at Keselowski's corner speed, Darrell. 30 miles an hour off of what the top cars are running. He was in 6th place. He's fallen to 12th and will continue to drop. And Brad Keselowski comes to pit road. NASCAR had told him to pick up the pace. He was below minimum speed, and he takes the blue deuce to the garage. Remember, during green flag stops, Johnson waited longer than Truex to pit, and Michael Martin was able to scoot away for a while.
You know, I'm just shocked, Mike. Martin Truex Jr. loves running the high side. When he saw Jimmie Johnson coming up there, I figured he would move up and do that as well. You think about Truex, Dale Jr., Kasey Kahne. Those are guys that are fast on the top. But Martin's been dedicated to the bottom of the racetrack. He's made it work. But Jimmie Johnson's tough up there.
Johnson hunting the lead. Truex gives him enough room. And the 48 clears Martin Truex.
You just can't overcome when your guy gets it hooked up around the top. You just cannot overcome the momentum he has off of both corners. It gives him such great straightaway speed. You just can't block it.
Tony Stewart has gone a lap down to Jimmie Johnson, the reigning Sprint Cup champ. struggling a bit this evening. He's one down. First car a lap down in 23rd. So 22 cars on the lead lap right now. Remember, Stewart led 173 laps here last October. One of the 5 wins that propelled him to the championship.
And set the race record, 152 miles an hour average for this race.
111 laps to go. Boy, if there's something on the track that doesn't belong there, like a drink bottle or whatever, well, Pablo Montoya is going to be the next car by, isn't he?
That thing was full, too.
Yes,
I mean, he threw out a perfectly good drink bottle.
By the way, Fort Worth has a $500 fine for littering. His lead is shrinking. Now, of course, as the leader, Darrell, he's the first driver to deal with lap traffic, and none of these fellas want to go a lap down, or in the case of Bobby Labonte, another lap down. So that'll allow Biffle to maybe close just a little bit. He's got Johnson's lead down to under a second right now. And partly because of traffic, Greg Biffle right now is 0.3 of a second a lap quicker than the leader.
Well, I just don't think there's anybody in this race tonight that wants to win any worse than Greg Biffle does. He's leading the points. I listened to his interviews, and he seems almost ticked off that he's not getting enough PR. He's not getting enough publicity for leading the points and having the year he's having. I think he's trying to change that tonight.
And this is what we saw so much last year with Ryan Newman running that about the same way.
Jeff Gordon makes the pass on Matt Kenseth, and that brings Gordon up to 4th from 34th on the grid. From Hamlin, it's about 2 seconds back to Carl Edwards, who has rebounded, Krista, from 30th now to 12th.
Rebounded indeed. They've overcome some major obstacles tonight. They've also made some pretty big adjustments to the track bar on the last 2 stops. No one has more wins at this track than Carl Edwards. 3 of those Charlie one-horse cowboy hats. He joked with us earlier in the weekend that he uses one of them when he's on the computer. He calls it his internet hat. It helps him think, he says.
Jimmy Johnson trying to give Rick Hendrick that long-awaited 200th Sprint Cup victory. He was within 2 laps of perhaps finishing 1, 2, 3 at Martinsville, and it all came undone on the final restart.
That's why he looks as tense as he does, because you never have one of these things in the bag.
Krista, Greg Biffle saying his car has gotten a little free in, tight in the middle. Let's go to Dick.
Jimmy Johnson on pit road, pitting out of the lead. This crew has been absolutely flawless. The adjustments have worked time after time. Another great stop.
Marcus Ambrose, Dale Earnhardt Jr. also making pit stops, as only Tony Stewart among the top 20 cars has not yet pitted. And again, these 3 cars, Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, and Greg Biffle, all pit on the same lap.
And that was a race off pit road right there, because now they're back up to speed racing. But Jimmy Johnson, Greg Biffle, a lot of drivers, even like Jeff Gordon, they ran 50 laps on that last run. Steve, they got to run 50 this time.
And we cycle back to Johnson in the lead now by 0.6 of a second. Here comes Biffle. Greg Biffle is back to the lead, and he convincingly crosses the bow of Jimmy Johnson's number 48. Now that was one of those I'll get even with yous, as Jimmy put the move on Greg earlier.
Well, we heard Greg say, I'm going to let him do whatever he's going to do. I'm saving my equipment. Now, I got to say, he didn't save a whole lot right there on that pass.
It's not just that he passes Jimmy Johnson, it's that he does it with such authority and jumps right up in front of him to say, take that.
They had company there with a lap car right to the outside.
I don't think he's going to drive away and leave Jimmy Johnson either.
We have been 213 laps since we last saw the yellow flag, and no, I'm not hoping for one, but it certainly has given this race a very different complexion than what we're used to.
Well, it's a race record. I think the record was 152 miles an hour set by Tony Stewart last year. We're averaging right now 160 miles an hour around this racetrack.
It looks like Jimmy Johnson's hit the wall.
Jimmy Johnson just got in the wall down here in 3 and 4. The whole right side of the car. I don't think he hit it hard, but he got up against it.
Now he's staying on track at speed. Woo. There it is.
That's a pretty hard lick. Looks like that Trevor Bayne.
Yeah, I think so.
But as you said, Darrell, the strength of these cars and their ability to take a shot. Johnson.
Tap to the wall. Right side of the wall into 3. Right.
Johnson is still at speed.
White flag, 1 to go. It's a race.
White flag right there. White flag.
Final lap. 49 races since Greg Biffle's last win. It came in Kansas. And here comes Biffle to become the 6th different winner of 2012. Greg Biffle wins the Samsung Mobile 500. Jimmie Johnson comes home second, 3.2 seconds back.
Greg Biffle, you are the man. Awesome job, buddy. Awesome job.